All right, so we're on. They just let everyone in here.
Wow, apparently so.
You
Yeah.
show up to work and it's like, what the hell?
Yeah,
I know.
We were just here for the free coffee.
I thought there was coffee and donuts.
Yeah.
Do a podcast.
Okay.
Cool. I lied about that. Sorry, guys.
What should we talk about?
Hey, Valentine's is over. Did you guys remember?
In my house, that's Single Awareness Day, so I don't really, the dog's happy. I'm just home and
They
feeding
got some
him.
treats.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Elvina happy? Did you flowers and chocolates?
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about flowers is she's allergic to a lot of the flowers.
Oh, so you're out.
Oh,
I'm out. I'll walk
Sweet.
by and take a picture of flowers, like at the store. Like, I thought of you, and it's a lot cheaper that way. So the idea still comes across, but don't have to pay for them.
Nice.
Yeah.
I still wish my kids happy Valentine's. I do it in a very personal text. Happy Valentine's Day. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
How about you?
Yeah, I remembered all the stuff, and we went out to dinner, and we do it the night before. So
Smart.
that's sort of a tradition that we're starting. Is for all these kind of Hallmark holidays, we go out
Right.
the night before when everything isn't packed.
No, there you go. That's
A
smart.
little workaround. Don't everybody get my idea though? 'Cause,
Yeah, that's smart.
Our youngest, he's got a girlfriend, and we get home because we were working. We got home probably around 6:30 last night, and he's like, "Hey, Dad, can you take us to Olive Garden?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not taking your ass to Olive Garden. Are you kidding me? Well, why not?" I'm like, "Well, one, it's probably gonna be packed, and I don't know why you want to go to Olive Garden, but okay, that's beside the point. But no, I mean, look at your mom and I. We're literally just sitting here staring at each other. I mean, we don't. Here's a trick. Go out this weekend, right? It's about you guys celebrating whatever relationship you have. It's a lot cheaper and a lot less busy if you do it either the day before or day after or that
Right.
weekend, and you're still celebrating it. But no, so we'll order some food, and so we got some food, and
So they didn't
So
convince you to go to the Olive Garden?
no, I'm
even,
not.
even for the breadsticks?
No.
No.
No, because I wasn't going to eat there. I just
Yeah.
dropped them off. It's going to be a chauffeur. I'm like, I'm too tired and I'm hungry myself. So I'm making dinner. You can have some of this or we can order some. And so they wanted to get, I think they wanted mod pizza. So we
Nice.
did that instead.
But they sprung it on you at the last minute. Yeah.
What would you expect?
Yeah.
That's why the alien abductions only happen at night.
Mm-hmm.
You picture the parent alien and the little kid alien, and the parents looking down at the little kid saying, "Wait a minute, it's 9:00 on a Wednesday night, and you're just now telling me you need a human for school tomorrow?" So it's kind of the same thing, right?
Well, I appreciate you two coming in. I mean, we've known each other for a long time. And
It's been a long time.
So for those that don't know, this is Derick Eyring, and this is Alan Smith, Big Al, and you guys manage and help a lot of people. 3 locations for John L. Scott Lake Taps, Enumclaw, and Tacoma North.
You got it.
And yeah, there's a lot of good people there. Amazing synergy. I feel like you guys do a great job. That's a lot of ground to cover, but I think you guys do it well. And you're pouring into your brokers every week. I mean, there's a meeting every week at each location, and that's a big commitment. But fortunately, you've invited Alvina and I to take part of that at one of the locations, so we appreciate that. But
Yeah, we love having you come. We always get good. We always know what's going on in the loan world, and it's important to know.
Sorry
at
about
this
that.
point in
Well,
time. Yeah. It's getting better.
for good or bad.
Yeah.
But, no, it's an important component of what we do because we're constantly telling our brokers that the relationship that they make with a lender is going to be one of the most important business relationships they're ever going to have. And so we need to know not only what's going on in the world of financing, but we need to establish those relationships because I need to know that I can trust you, that you're competent at what you do, but that you'll let me know if you see any red flags so that we're not spinning our wheels or moving in the wrong direction. And I think that's one of the challenges that newer brokers have that haven't developed those relationships. It's easy to get sidetracked and you find out that maybe the online lender didn't really use a lot of diligence in processing this file, and now something's flared up that you should have known about 6 weeks ago. So when we build these relationships over time, it's easy to pick the good people and say, hey, we want to make sure that our brokers interact with these folks more often, just to try to help them.
Yeah.
And I think things are kind of going that way now. We just talked about that last week. We had a multiple offer situation, and one of our great brokers was a listing broker, and he looks for three things when he receives offers. He looks to see who the lender is, if they're local and they know what they're doing. He looks to see who the other broker is, and then of course they look at the price and the terms. But the broker and the lender are just as important. It's like, who am I working with? Do I know that this is going to get done?
Yeah, this is going to be a 30 to 45 day marriage, and what is this going to look like? Is this going to be drama fest,
Right.
or is this going to be, every real estate transaction can be a little bit of a roller coaster ride, but at the end of the day, that should be a fun roller coaster ride, not terrifying. And so picking the right people to partner up with is huge in our business, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's a key, thing for us as our partners and people. And, and just kind of delving into that even more is also to let people know that we are in the market, that we work our markets. And that's sort of our business model. We're more of a family office type environment. So we have 3 offices, not necessarily because I love paying rent payments.
Right.
It's because we want to be in the marketplace, right? And we
Right.
want our folks to be in the marketplace, living and working in their community that they're also representing. And that has changed a lot. So when I first started, there weren't that many real estate brokerages. It wasn't so easy to open an office and hang your license in a 3x5 room and put 100 brokers in there. And now you can.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have brokers everywhere, which is great, but not all of them are local. Not all of them know what's happening in the community. So we really wanted to, use that approach and work that model. So that's why we're, spread out all over the place and having meetings all week long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is a lot to be said about some of the efficiencies. It's just some of the offices, are more of an online presence than a real presence. And you can say a lot of positive things about maybe that's an efficient model, but there's a big difference between what's efficient and what's effective.
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked to other designated brokers that haven't even met some of their brokers because they're living in a different city, and that's a satellite business for them, So we're a little bit different in that regard. We're a lot more hands-on, and we try to have a feel for what's going on in the area. And I like to know that I'm able to help the brokers that are in our offices, and it helps keep me sharp too.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm disengaged, then I'm not a good resource for them either. So over the years, we've kind of learned how to, that's just a natural flow for us, and I think people can pick up on that.
And just think of how many things have changed in our industry since, I was thinking about what are we going to talk about here? But, really there's a lot to talk about. Our business has changed so much in the 30 plus years that I've been going. So when I got my license, I was put on a time clock. It was like, okay, your license, go do something. That was
Yeah.
my training.
Yeah.
That was the training.
Yeah.
Go make me some money is what the broker said
Yeah.
without saying it. And I had a new manager in the office, and she said, you have 3 months to bring a deal. And that's the way it kind of was for the longest period of time. And now it's so much different in a positive way. So change is sometimes really good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you really should go. A lot of brokerages have great training. And so you just need to find the place that works for you, that has really good training. In our case, it's a little more hands-on. We're not sending you to a video or, making you drive to Bellevue every day to go get training. We try to do it and handle it in-house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've taken that approach over the years, and we've just kind of become comfortable with doing it that way, and then we can kind of meet people wherever they are. We have online resources that it's a vast library of anything you could want to know. It's there, but being personal with people and teaching it one-on-one, or getting a small classroom together and going over something tends to have a lot more impact,
Right.
and they remember it better. So, and we enjoy doing that.
Right.
So that's why we do the weekly meetings at all 3 offices, and that's why we try to keep people informed of what's going on.
Yeah.
So. And your office is kind of the same. I mean, I've seen your office grow over the years and become this big powerhouse, and yet you're still picking up your phone. You know, you're still answering the calls,
Right.
and so how important is that
Staying
these
engaged.
days, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about how healthy things grow, and I feel like emerging from COVID and everything being shut down and isolation, people may have felt that was a way to become more efficient. Hey, I don't have to go into the office. I don't have to do this. But I can still get work done and make money. But there's a cost to that. There's a consequence to it, right? So there's cause and effect. And what we're realizing is we have to be present with people. We have to be engaged, and we have to provide value and see value in other people to where we're able to have something grow. And and that's what we see in the meetings is you give us the ability to talk. And if you notice, I'm pretty sure you notice, we're not talking about this loan product and all these things that are like, because we're supposed to just know that stuff. We're supposed to be able to provide that as an option for a solution for the problem, right? I talk a lot about strategy and how we're able to help you and your brokers understand how to navigate and win the deal and build the trust and leverage, the ability to have a team, right? Because so much of what you do is going to be limited if you don't have the support on the lending side to ensure that it's actually going to close. Right. We talk about our number one job being reputation preservation. And what that means is we understand that you've got the business and your broker's got the business because of who they are, who you are. And if you don't have a relationship or a team behind you that's going to support that and grow that, then that's a problem. You're not able to get referrals, you're not getting repeat business. Those are all issues. And so that's really valuable for us, is the relationship. It's not the transaction. Right. And I mentioned, earlier about like the relationship is so important to us. We don't mind even having other relationships with other lenders because we feel like that might be the better fit. If it's a construction loan that is going to be really tricky, then maybe there's a lot involved, maybe there's other things that need, we have products for it. But I care more about that person, that family, that relationship. Let's do this over here. I'll help with the refinance out of that construction piece of it, right? Home equity lines of credit, that type of thing. It's not about the transaction. Same is true when, you're talking about making the offers on the listing side. Well, that broker on the listing side, you may not know him, I may not know him, but the fact that we're making a call saying, hey, this is what, John and Sally did in order to get pre-approved. We've gone through underwriting, we've done all this stuff. And I acknowledge, like, your reputation's on the line if you choose wrong or if you give the wrong advice on which one is the best deal. And Tom is the broker you're referring to in the office that looks at the lender and looks at the agent and if they're local, and then they look at the deal, right?
Right.
That was really profound when he said that, because it means a lot to us, and I know it means a lot to you guys as well. That's how business really happens. So that's the secret on getting your offer accepted and winning in this market is the relationship and understanding that it's not about you. There's so many other people involved. And I'll tell our buyers, I feel like we can have really candid conversations with them because we dive in deep. Like, the seller doesn't care about your interest rate. Let's just make that really clear. They do not care about your interest rate. They don't care about that. They want to know that it's going to close. They want to know that they can communicate with whoever. If there's something that comes up, can they get a hold of them? Are they talking to them on evenings and weekends? And, I jokingly, we joke a lot, that you don't even have to like me. I'm going to get you in the house. You can refinance later, someone else that you like. But I'm going to do my job, and I'm going to do it well to where we're going to get a win. And the way we do that is acknowledging that everyone has value on the selling side. We're not going to have this whole them against us. No, we have to do this as a team. And here's why we're the best option.
Right.
And we've been really successful with just breaking down those barriers and just hitting it head on.
Yeah. So imagine there's a real estate brand new real estate broker just got in the business, and they're working and they're working and they're working. They're building they found a relationship that they can help these folks, let's say, buy a home, right? And they're out there, they're spending every weekend and weeks, maybe even months trying to find them the right place. And then they hand them off, or the buyer has gone online and found some random house of home loans to get their product from, right? And they don't even know that this is a train that's about ready to derail because somebody in another state has no vested interest in this transaction, because the online presence knows that they're never going to do another deal with this broker ever again.
Right.
So they don't, you guys go find the house and then I'll start working the file, is kind of the approach that I've picked up on over the years, that is absolutely shooting yourself in the foot. You have to have the good relationships with people. If I submit an offer to somebody else that has the seller, they're expecting me to talk about how great my client is. Pick me. My offer is the best. Look at us. We fight fires on our days off, and we save kittens. My folks are wonderful, right? They're used to that from me. But when you call them as the lender, all of a sudden the listing broker is like, well, there's a team behind this buyer, and I'm getting good vibes from the lender that they're qualified for the loan, and that if interest rates spike a little bit, it's not going to derail the train. That's a much, much better way. And so we always have a saying, if you're going to play this game, play it to win. Do the right things, establish the steps that you need to accomplish up front, so that when you find the home you want to buy, you can move quickly.
Yep.
And so that partnership's huge for us too. So we're always happy to have you at the meetings. So
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's nice to see your office is full of people working in the office. I was actually kind of excited that your parking lot was totally full.
Yeah.
I really like to see that. I think this kind of hybrid thing kind of is useful sometimes, but we tell our newer brokers or people that are not so busy, activity brings activity. So put your clothes on, street clothes,
Right.
stuff you can wear outside, not pajamas. For all you Tacoma people, and get in the office and just get on a schedule and fake it till you make it. Go and look at property, educate yourself about the marketplace. There's so many things you can do, but you can't do it from home. So it's good to see people back and getting engaged, and
Yeah, sometimes it just take those steps, and then your mind will engage, and then you'll pick up things from other people in the office too. If you're just sitting at home, it's so easy to hide in this business. But if you're in the office, you pick up that so-and-so's got a deal going on here and they ran into this problem, or hey, there's a possibility over here. You just engaged in what you're doing. And so, that's why we still have brick and mortar offices, because we think they're important, not just for meeting clients somewhere, but it's just having the ability to interact and learn from other people too. That feeds on it.
Yeah, so we want people to learn by coming and just getting engaged, and just having a presence, and you'll learn from osmosis, like you were saying,
Right.
just
Yeah.
from being there. And sometimes if you're a new broker, you'll pick up a deal here and there that way as well. So we always want to encourage that, because there's nothing as exciting as getting a transaction. If you're new in the business, the best learning tool, like we were talking about, you can go to all the classes you want, but until you get an actual client that you need to take care of, that's when you really kick into high gear and you really learn, a lot real quick.
And I enjoy the interaction with the brokers in my office. Nothing feels better to me these days than one of a new broker, for example, and you help them navigate through their first closing, or 3 or 4 or whatever it is, and they're so thankful, and you could just see that this was a big deal in their life, and it just feels great knowing that they're becoming successful, and seeing that growth and stuff too. So I think you have to be wired to like that in your life. There's a lot of people that just leave me alone. I'm out here doing my own thing, and that's cool too. But that's hopefully that's not what you see in office leaders, because you need that help. You need somebody that's willing to jump in and help you.
Well, I feel like emerging from, so we're 2024 now. 23 was an interesting market for both real estate and mortgage. And the other day we were talking about it, and it felt like consumer sentiment and just as an industry, we feel like, okay, we can catch our breath a little bit. And
Yeah, it feels like we're rounding the corner.
Right.
The numbers aren't there yet, but
they're not.
optimism is in the air,
Right.
and that makes a lot of difference. Even
Right.
if things aren't moving quite the way you want to be,
Right.
get a little optimism in the air. Just everyone feels a little better. You know?
Right. Well, and it's also the time not to take the break. Like, and like
Absolutely.
if you're, if you're starting to hit that speed and then you're starting to plane out, that's when it becomes easier, right? But you can also cover a lot of ground if you just kind of keep going, don't let off the gas. And so, you can take maybe a little bit of a breather, but I like with Alvina and I, it's like, okay, cool. Now we're in second gear.
Right.
We can get a little bit further, a little
Right.
bit faster, and we have more gears we need to be able,
Yeah.
Well, it
Yeah,
takes a
shift
lot less energy to stay in motion than it does
Exactly.
to get into motion.
right,
And so this is not the time to put the brakes on. This is the
Right.
time to dig a little deeper. How can I get better at this thing that I'm kind of rusty on,
Right.
or I'm kind of clunky with this software? We'll spend the time learn
Right.
it so that you can do it in your sleep. It's little stuff like that that allow you to grow in your profession, so that you can take on bigger challenges and you don't have to think about the nuts and bolts
right.
of what you do every day.
So, I guess one last thing. So, you guys are open to meeting with brokers if they're wanting to meet, if they want to see what you guys have to offer.
Absolutely. Always.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
sure.
Of course.
Because I feel like there's going to be a right place for, everyone's going to have different needs and wants, and not every place is going to be suited for someone, whether it's a team or an individual broker. So we'll make sure that we have Derick and Alan's contact information to where you set up a meeting with them, and you guys will meet in person, right? Or over the phone, I guess, but I know you
Yeah.
prefer to meet in person, come to the office, have coffee or something. But definitely check them out. It's a good environment, and it's a healthy environment where they're wanting to help people. So I appreciate that.
No,
about both of you.
Yeah, we appreciate
you saying that,
the
yeah.
endorsement. We're real hands-on, and our general philosophy is, if you're going to put your stake in the ground and you have enough belief in yourself
Right.
to make this leap, then there's a responsibility for us to do everything we can to get you going, that's not to say that we do meet you where you want to be met. So if you want a lot of accountability, we're there for that. If you want just a little, we're there for that. But we're definitely, we're in the business to make other folks successful.
Yeah, we have a lot of seasoned professionals that they don't need a lot of
Right.
guidance. They don't, they prefer not to have that, and that's great too. So, but especially if they're newer people in the business, there's a perception that the television industry has provided for us,
Right.
that the week after you get in the business, you get your brand new convertible, and you can you wear the $10,000 suits, and you can yell at your clients on the phone, and they'll do exactly what you tell them to do, and then you make a lot of money, and you engage in drama around the coffee pot. That's every reality show about real estate. That's not reality.
Right.
That's not,
Yeah, the real reality is people work really hard at this business, and sometimes for nothing.
Yeah.
A long period of time. And a lot of people just see the easy ones. Well, they didn't see the 10 things that didn't come together, or the year it took you to get your business going, or the literally blood, sweat, and tears that a lot of people put into this business to get going. And a lot of courage. There's a lot of courage involved in doing anything on your own, right?
Sure.
And
Yeah,
so-
you're throwing your hat over the fence and saying, okay, and you may or may not have a lot of support at home. There may be backers there for you. There may be detractors that say, no, this is dangerous, right? You should be doing this. Or, I remember Uncle Bob, he failed at real estate. You don't want to do that, right?
Yeah.
So there's all these dynamics too. That's why I like meeting people in person, because I'm curious, what is their perception of this industry? And I'm sure you get that in the lending side too. I mean, what's your perception of what it is that we do for a living?
Right.
And is it based in reality, or I can't blame them for not being based in reality.
Right.
Yeah, and for new brokers, I always have the same pitch. El's probably heard it a million times. When you sit down and talk to a new broker, I really honestly believe this. Look around and find the place that you're going to feel the most comfortable in. There's a lot of great brokerages out there. Find the one that you feel like you fit the best in, and stay there.
Right.
Because you know, shiny object syndrome, right?
Mhm.
This one looks better. This one looks better. Find a place you're comfortable with. Stay there. Learn all the things you need to learn, and do your business. And that's a part of the deal, is just to find your fit. And
Yeah, and I think if anybody's new in the business, then they need to align themselves with a brokerage that has name brand recognition in the marketplace. Because the
right,
last thing you want to do as a brand new broker is maybe you go on a listing presentation and you end up spending an hour defending your company because they've
Right.
never heard of it, right? That can
right,
be a bad thing. So start off, stack the odds in your favor. Pick a brokerage that has name brand recognition and that will give you the support that you need.
Mhm.
And the great thing you can do too is talk to other agents in that office, find out what they think
yeah,
about the office. How long have they been there? Why do they stay? That's a great thing to do too. And so that keeps us on our toes.
Yeah.
If we feel 100% confident that you can talk to anybody in my office and they'll tell you the straight scoop,
Mhm.
why are they here? I don't hesitate to offer that to anybody that's out there. But it's interesting because the more successful you get in real estate, the easier it looks to the rest of the world. And so it can look at times like we don't do anything. We're just floating around. It's because everything's happening in the background because we're
Mhm.
making it happen, but we're not running around frantically in front of the world saying that
Yeah.
these 17 things are going on all at once. And I know in your world, it's got to be the same because we tend to think of the lender as sitting in an office somewhere. They didn't go out and look at the house. They're processing everything and it's all screen time.
Right.
So I think in our world we don't really know the stresses you go through or the mountains that you're moving to get this thing to the next step, right?
Mhm.
What do you think? What do you think? Let's see, how would I ask this? What do you think we probably have little understanding about it in your job? I'm curious. There's got to be things you do on a daily basis where you say, "Gosh, I wish the real estate agents had a better understanding of what this really entails."
Yeah. It's a good question because I feel like at least you've already kind of addressed it. The value of having someone that is local that you consider as part of your team
Hmm.
um, acknowledges the fact that it's more than just the interest rate and the mechanics of it. What I feel, um, and you'll see this even on the lending side. I mean, I feel like there is a divide there sometimes where um, the perception of the lender is just utility, in its commodity. And yeah, there's a lot of lenders, but there's also a lot of realtors, and not all are created equal. And so if you approach it that way and you're presenting it as such to your clients, that's also their opinion of it. And I can't do what I do without you, and vice versa, right? Well, great. So we can get someone to, we can get into a car and be able to get from point A to point B. But, you know, how much are we really having to work on that car as it's breaking down on the side of the road along the way, everything else? You want something that's going to be consistent and it backwards and forwards, and you can trust it. It's trustworthy. I feel like on the real estate side, I feel like there is a disconnect from really understanding what we have to do um, in order to have that level of consistency and work ethic and performance and essentially the outcome for the clients and you.
probably the same problem we have with our customers, because
Yeah.
people do see on TV and it looks easy,
Yeah.
right? That's not what it's all about, though.
Right. And that's why Alvina and I have chosen to do this form of content. I mean, we'll do, education, short videos, 30 seconds, minute long, talking about this product and everything else. But I feel like we should know all that. We should know the loans and the products and the ratios and DTI and all that. I mean, we're supposed to. That's our job. But being able to connect and be able to show people and help them understand who they're actually working with is the thing that is the misconception. And I feel like, again, on the realtor side, to answer your question, they don't really understand. They just like, oh, they have this product. Okay, well, who are you talking to that really understands that product? And is it the right solution? Because you have multiple products that will be a really good solution. But, I actually had a broker get mad at me because I actually offered 3 solutions to their client, and it caused more questions. Well, I'm sorry, you can get mad all you want, but that's ultimately what I do, right? And the solutions were things that were going to cost this family money long term if they didn't look at these solutions. So we involved a financial advisor, an estate planner, and all these other things that it's like, it's not just, like, back to my point, it's not a effing transaction. It's a family that we're taking care of.
It's like a holistic approach to
if you
real
want
estate.
so if you want someone that's only going to focus on the transaction, cool. I'm not the right guy.
Right. But for me, that's exactly what I want. And, we spend a lot of time working with people on articulating their value, because I think that's where we fall short. And that's why sometimes people think they don't do much, is because we don't tell them what we do. We don't articulate our value good enough. And so, a lot of things, we probably sound like a broken record, but a lot of things are focused around that, talking about what you do and your value.
Yeah. I mean, and again, this is very purposeful on why we're putting out content this way. The other thing that's very intentional is becoming very involved within the community. In fact, and I know you are as well. I mean, your wife is very on the philanthropy. I'm going to say it. Cut that.
It's a tough
philanthropy. Thank you.
Philanthropy.
Philanthropy.
Yeah.
It's like blurted out. Rob was cussing. He had Tourette's.
Yeah,
But she's involved in philanthropy.
especially in
That word.
Charity work.
Thank you. But she has a heart, and she shows it day in and day out. And
absolutely.
Your heart's grown a little bit, right?
Yeah.
That's
She's
not
expanded my horizons. Absolutely.
But you'll bring people in the office. That's how we met Stacy Cernich. For those who don't know, that's the market, or AKA
Bonnie
the
Lake Food Bank.
And
great place. You
absolutely.
should go there,
and we're very much in line with what she's doing. We helped raise through. We're part of Sumner Rotary, again, being hyper local and focus on things locally here. We do a gala every year. There's one coming up here next month. We raised $50,000 through a 3-minute video that we shot here. That we gave 25 to Bonnie Lake and 25 to Sumner to help kids that have food insecurity over the weekend. It's called Backpack Buddies.
Right? That's great.
And again, this real estate and lending is, and again, if you look at social media feeds, I follow and friends with a lot of people in the industry. So I don't know if I'm, hyper local on just, here's my sphere. So that's all I really see. But I feel like our industry is the only 2 industries that do so much social media and video marketing. It's like this echo chamber. So you're almost teaching people to not listen to you because you're constantly talking about the exact same thing. That
I think people get like on a trend, and they, do we need to talk more about marry the house and
date the rate.
And date the rate. I don't think we need to. I think people understand,
exactly.
stuff like that. But I understand,
So, but if we're doing things and showing who we are as a person and where our hearts are, wanting to help other people, well, then at that point, I feel like they want to kind of know really what we do, and the trust is already kind of built, right? So it's a long game, but we're having way more fun doing that, and there's way more valuable content and information that is going out there that people, even if they're not in the market to buy at this point, will get to know, like, and trust you, to where when they are, or if they know someone that is, we're starting to see dividends off of what we've invested into the community and just building these relationships. Back to the relationship side of it, not worried about transactions. That's a byproduct of really good relationships.
Well, you just said it. I mean, 3 words you just said: know, like, and trust. That's a 400-page book on marketing, right there, condensed into 3 little words. They have to know you. They have to know you're there, right? and then they have to like you. Well, if they don't know you, they're not going to like you, right?
Right.
That can't happen. So they have to know you first, then they have to like you, and then they have to trust you. They have to reach the level where they know that you're competent in what you do and that you're good at what you do, so you can help them accomplish their goals.
Yep.
And without tooting our own horns, some of the best feelings you ever get are the things we do outside of real estate. When we can help food banks, when we can help local events in our communities be better. That's what you feel good about at the end of the night when you go home. It's not just another real estate transaction. That's the stuff that matters, and that's the stuff that has lasting impressions on the community. And so, at the end of the day, we need to feel good about what we're doing too, and that's where we get a lot of our stuff from.
Yeah, and our brokerages are just like a little family, and we got to take care of our family, and then it spreads out from there. Our community is part of our family, and you're right. That's the important stuff. Like at the end of all of this, when we're done doing this and we think back about it, those will be the highlights, not how many deals I did and I'm number one in my cubicle, as you like to say, right?
Yeah.
It's what I did elsewhere. Like, did I make any kind of impact?
Right.
It's like, so this format is great because you see so much online of just sell. Look at me. Here are my awards. Look at me. Oh, here's me again. Here's me and my dog. Here's me. But enough about me. What do you think about me? We see that all the time, right? And that actually repulses people. It's like back vampire. I don't want this in my life.
Yeah.
So the key workaround to that is just be genuine. Just be who you are, and really be concerned about people and care about it. And then that comes across. People can pick up on that. And is this a genuine person or not?
Yeah. And, our ultimate goal also, though, is to be that person that is instantly recognizable as great. I've run across some salespeople like that, if you want to call salespeople, people in business, and you instantly know. And I love your doctor analogy or lawyer analogy that you use. It's not always about the fee or the rate. You got to find the right person, and your analogy is.
Yeah, well, I've had experiences where you're talking to attorneys, and how much do you charge, and they'll fumble and look down, and I can charge $200 if I can get it, that kind of thing. And then you meet several people like that, and then I remember very clearly one just said, I charge $400 an hour, and that's just the way it is. And I thought, okay, well, that's the confidence level I need to get this thing done anyway. That's the person for me. There's a great line that somewhere in the world is the world's worst doctor. They graduated bottom of their class from the worst medical school on the planet, and today they are seeing patients. And so just because they look like they're a doctor doesn't mean they're a good doctor, right? And so you got to get to that point where people trust that you have the capabilities to help get them where they are. And that goes right back to the relationships we were talking about earlier. I know if I've got a great team behind me, I can let you do your job. I don't have to nose into your world and say, well, what about this? What about this? I know you're already doing that. And when you tell me that these folks are approved and they're ready to go, and here's their limit, and it's going to be this kind of loan, and they might need some help with this, and then those are my marching orders. I know I'm good. But I'm not going to get that from somebody online that I don't have that relationship with.
Right.
And hopefully all of that is invisible to the client. The client just knows this was a great roller coaster ride. This was fun. And we got exactly what we needed to get. We got into the house we wanted to live in, and it was painless, And so hopefully a lot of what we do is invisible to the folks, and that just means we're good at what we do, and we've learned over the years that don't do that, you're going to stub your toe.
Right.
And so
it's your duck on the water analogy, right?
Yeah, you wake up, you're on vacation, and you're on this, you walk out of this little cabin, and you're at this pristine lake, and it's just smooth as glass. And it's early in the morning, and your little mist is coming up off the water, and you look out and you see this duck just floating across the lake, trying to get from one shore to the other. And you just see this duck just kind of floating there. But what you don't realize is the feet underneath the water are moving like 1,000 miles per hour to get him across the pond, right? You see on the surface the smooth duck, but there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I know that's got to be true in your world,
Mhm.
because you're constantly reacting to what the market's doing and how does my client fit in this little slot now, and things. And maybe I don't think you get the glory that we get, because we get to hand them the
Right.
keys
We
at
get
the
to
end of the
hand them
day.
the
You know,
keys.
and come on now, this is your new house. But
Yeah.
but you're
Yeah.
you're not always there for that moment.
Yeah, I mean, but that's just us knowing our role. I mean, at the end of the day, when we talk to someone initially, it's we talk about what this is going to look like and what it's going to feel like, because there's a lot of emotion when it comes to the real estate when you're buying a home. It's impossible to walk into a home, walk in the foyer, and not envision your family there, and holidays and birthdays and everything else that's going to happen there. It's an emotional thing, and it's a lot of money. You're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars. And so when we have this initial conversation, I always say this is the only time we can have a conversation where there isn't a lot of emotion involved. So we're going to do the mechanics. We're going to put our business hat on, and we're going to look at this from a business standpoint. And then once we understand that this is good and we know what our comfort levels are and we're within that parameter, then you get to go shopping. That's the fun part, right? And so to your point, yeah, we just did all the homework and we made them go through all that stuff. They're probably a little less apt to celebrate with us than they are with you, because if we do our job and get that done, that's when it's really good on your end,
Right.
because and it
We
doesn't
get
mean
to, we get to ride on your coattails.
well, but
right?
to that though, it doesn't mean that you're not doing anything during that time. It's just it's an efficient process. It's a dance to where we know that, okay, here's my role, here's my steps, and yours, and we hand off very well. And we have to do that all on the front end. We can't do this and hope that, oh, I hope this comes in. There's with income and how we have to calculate income, and if it's hourly and variable. I mean, there's all these things that will happen. We have to know that before we get them out there, because again, back to the reputation.
Right.
We're not going to be able to preserve your reputation very long if you referred them over to us and it was a complete nightmare right out of the gate because we didn't. No, we're not going to go look and get into our emotions until we know that this is really going to be sound and you're okay with this. And another thing I wanted to kind of add, because we are doing so much here hyper local, and how you show value and knowing your value. Movement, and you'll see this will be something that I'll be able to provide to all your brokers and you, each of you, as far as the offices, is we're coming out with what is called an impact report. So Movement is the number one impact lender in the world. And so what that means is essentially we're not beholden to any shareholders. We don't pay stock dividends. We majority owned by the Movement Foundation. So half of our profits go through the foundation out into the communities that we serve. And to date, it's almost $500 million.
That's great. Wow.
We build schools, tuition-free charter schools. We have the sixth one will be coming online, I think, in September of this year of 24. They're in the Carolinas right now and Georgia, but we've pledged to do 100 nationally in the next decade. I have friends that are in education and public education. They're like, charter schools. These are in areas where the tax base isn't going to allow for much. They're decimated. These kids on average are moving 2.5 times a year. It's a cycle of poverty that we're trying to stop and acknowledge. And so that's a big part of what we do. And so there's an impact. So when we close a loan, we're going to give you an impact report. So based on the loan amount, we give this to the borrower as well. Here's how many students you helped with tuition. Here's how many chairs you allowed us to buy, food, meals, backpacks, that type of thing. And then that's something that you can share on social media. Like, hey, because of my alliance, because of my relationship with Rob and Alvina and Movement, and really where I'm coming from as a person and where my heart's at, we're having impact. And you have ownership of that impact, because it's a symbiotic relationship. We're helping each other out, but we want to show you really what that impact is. Yeah. And that's unique to us right now. And we've challenged all of the lenders to take part of that. It's not copywritten. Call yourself impact lender. Please, someone come in and help us do this, because it needs to happen. We also have something called Grace Works and Love Works, and it's versions of kind of we take profits and we give back to the communities, and we also help employees that might be struggling with illness, homelessness, food insecurity, that type of thing. But we also have given away $1 million through grants to other 501c3s that are helping impact the communities that we serve, and live in. And so it means something to us as a family, as a husband-wife team. We want to align ourselves with a company that has the same philosophy and we aspire to. I mean, it's amazing things. And so it's hard for an organization or company to really take that. It's just how we're built. But there's no reason why we can't take our friends and coworkers and referral partners along with us and share that success and allow you to kind of, hey, thank you for entrusting me. This is what we were able to do.
Yeah, and how good does that feel, knowing that not only did you do the thing that you're supposed to be doing anyway, and you're helping people grow through real estate buying and selling and just helping that process along, but you're also making a bigger difference in the community, because that's what you're going to remember at the end of the day. When you look back on your life, you're going to remember those types of things, not to Derick's point, not the 300 and some odd transactions you did. You're going to remember the big impacts that you make, and that's got to feel great.
And I've learned, my eyes have really been open, like to speak to what you're doing with movement. The private business world creates more opportunities and provides more services than I ever imagined. Just in our local area, if it weren't for organizations feeding and helping with homeless people, and I don't know what the picture would be like. It would be worse than it already is. I'm not trying to alienate anybody, but there's a lot of private, great people with great hearts that work every day. And so this notion that business is being in business is a bad thing because we're capitalists is not necessarily what the reality is. Most of these, there's a lot of great businesses out there doing a lot of great things for the community. And it's just eye-opening just to see, and to hear about things like this and providing so many things that aren't being provided elsewhere. So
and a lot of times it's not even obvious to the community that this is going on, because they're not looking to shine a flashlight on their efforts. They're a lot of times they're doing the opposite of that. They want to make sure that it's happening behind the scenes, and they don't want the notoriety for it and stuff. But no, it's a very good feeling.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah,
So,
we can't do it without you, right? I mean, at the end of the day, the more we're able to get people into homes, the more people we're able to help that unfortunately may not be at that point in their life. And again, the money doesn't mean that is, you'll hear, oh, well, your rates must be higher. No, we're just, the C-suite isn't, buying Lamborghinis and yachts and vacation homes and everything, right?
So it's not selling Sunset after all?
No.
Not that? Wow.
No.
Okay.
No.
I need to rethink this whole thing.
I thought it, yeah.
It's just it's a different philosophy, and it's, I don't know, it means something to us, and a lot of people that we're talking with, it means something, and people we're working with, it means something to them as well. But what's really cool is that we're able to now bring you along with us and let you share in that success, and we'll be able to give you information that you could post and spread the word, right? I mean, because it's people will vote with the dollar, based on really what you're trying to do.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And I feel like it's important to at least acknowledge the fact that we appreciate that. And
and there's good and bad things about the internet, and one of the good things is people can really do a lot of research on who they're working with and kind of get out there and see what they're doing for the community and what they're doing locally. And I think that's important. I mean, that pushes a button for a lot of people,
for sure.
And I get it, I totally get it.
Right. So we'll get one more in. Is that good?
Sounds good.
Okay. It's going by fast, huh?
Yeah, I don't know if we
Yeah.
talked about anything good,
Kind of
No, it's
feeling
good.
good about myself all of a sudden.
but
I'm pretty special.
So let's talk about the upcoming market and what we see as the opportunity. Coming from 2023 into 2024, we're talking about we've kind of felt that shift, but um, we're also seeing a really good opportunity as in theory rates coming down, right? I mean, they're going to do whatever they're going to do.
right, in theory.
We can never place bets on that and hope and have a we just don't know, right? We don't have control over it. So
Yeah.
it's a global economy, but what I feel like, and the analogy I've used is it's almost like this Black Friday effect. So you see the advertised TV. We'll use TV as an example at this doorbuster, price, and it gets a lot of activity, a lot of people wanting that, and they get in, but it's limited supply. But they still realize they want a TV, and there's still an opportunity, and there's still good deals out there. And that's what we've kind of seen. We've saw a huge influx of people making applications and then coming back off the sidelines. We're seeing multiple offers. We're seeing open
Back
houses.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
We just had a broker with 15
Yeah.
offers and all great over asking. And, those aren't fun to be on the buyer side of that. And the thing is, the tough part about that is with limited inventory, once the market kind of takes off again, which it seems to be showing us signs of, the prices go up some more.
Mm-hmm.
And for young people, I have two young people that are just out of college, and one's just finishing. And you have young kids, and you have young kids.
Yeah.
You want to see them hopeful that they can buy a house and have the American dream, right? And I know that seems like it's getting tougher,
Mm-hmm.
but there are opportunities. But we just want to try to. We're hoping that there will be more. I think some of the new laws allowing more density will be good.
Yep.
It's going to take a while for that stuff to kind of work its way into the marketplace, but I think that'll be good. We want people to be hopeful that are young and they want to get going and get on the property ladder.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right. We're seeing the market starting to show some signs that things might kind of get back to normal. Trajectory is about 15% increase this year is what we heard.
We've seen some industry statistics that are talking about that compared to last year, and
last
so
year we're about 40 or 50% down, so 15% doesn't dig us out of the hole,
Right.
and we still have the inventory problem, so it's going to
but
be
it's progress.
interesting. It's progress.
And it feels like you're moving in the right direction
Right.
because we can kind of see the bottom behind us now.
Yeah,
And that gives you hope.
and we went through this during the recession. We were all there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like by the time you realize things are getting better, it's been a minute, and I think we're kind of at the beginning of that. By the late spring, I think we'll be going, oh, okay, this is kind of how things are moving.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel hopeful for both buyers and sellers. I think that there are some opportunities out there for buyers. I've seen some things in the 2s and 3s and even the 1s that are livable
Mm-hmm.
in parts of Pierce County, which is kind of good. But I don't
Yeah.
think that's going to last very long.
No.
We're coming out of the winter market and the rates are starting to go. They're dropping down. They're going up and down on their
Right.
way down. So we're seeing some values still there, some deals, but we'll see what happens. For sellers, it's been good the whole time. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're a seller, you can call your shots as long as we still talk about. You still have to price it right.
You got to price it right, and you still have to be attractive to the buyer pool. If the buyer pool is smaller,
Mm-hmm.
then you need to sharpen your pencil, and you need to do the little things that matter, because a lot of buyers right now, depending on their financial situation, of course, but they may not have the extra money to do projects once they move into their new house. And so if your home is dialed in and it looks to them like, gosh, we don't have to do a whole lot of work on this house to make it our home, then you're probably going to attract a larger share of those buyers' eyes.
Yeah.
So yeah, you still got to do the basics, but overall, when you look at historically the real estate markets, it's always been cyclical. It's always had highs and lows, and fortunately, this low hasn't been as severe as others in the past. And as we come out of it, we just get that much better. And so, just do what you have to do now to get in a house. And you can always, we always talk about refinancing options down the road, of course, but the market is what it is. And for us, I think a big takeaway is you just can't, you have to focus on the things you can control. I can't control what the Fed does. They don't call me anymore.
Really?
No.
Did you try?
And I don't know I could crunch their spreadsheet for them. But I can only control what I can control.
Right.
And you just have to look at that every day and try to go out and.
We were talking the other day too with first-time home buyers. I think a lot has changed since in the last 20 or 30 years. It used to be your first house was kind of a piece of shit, right? and you knew that
That's
going
a technical term in the real estate world, by the way.
Excuse my language.
It says on the appraisal, piece of shit.
Right, POS number one, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, my first house was nothing to write home about, right? But I knew it wasn't going to last long. I was going to live there for a while, fix up what I could, which was nothing, by the way, and then move on to the next one.
Right.
So I think nowadays, there's a different mentality. I think people want everything kind of done, and maybe we got to kind of work as we were talking about that meeting we have with our folks before we go look at things.
Right.
Some of that conversation with a first time home buyer is, hey, it's not going to be perfect. You're going to have to compromise. It's not going to be your forever home.
Right.
And kind of get more into that mindset to get on, get in the game.
Right.
I don't even want to call it a game, but get on the property ladder so that you can then get your next house.
Yeah.
That's really where I think the mindset needs to be. Not I need a perfect house the first go around.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and as we were talking, it dawned on them that they're a first time home buyer, and they grew up in their family home, and that kind of set the bar for what they're expecting to see in their first home, because that's home to them, right? Well, they don't realize, and we start talking about this, their family home was their parents' 6th or 7th home. Right. And they have no idea that their parents started out in a little shack and, all the growth that they saw before they even came along. So it's just having that perspective and know that, okay, you're still going to look back on it. This could be the worst possible house ever. You're going to fix it up. You're going to make it yours. And you're going to live in it, and you're going to love it. And down the road, it's going to be a chapter in your book of life that you look back on, and you smile, and you remember, look at all the hardship we went through. So all those things play out. You don't really appreciate them till after the fact,
right?
But I could see her eyes open when she realized, oh yeah, it was probably their 6th or 7th home. Yeah. I have no idea what their previous homes ever looked like.
Well, and that's part of the strategy that we talk about, and like again, the emotion side of it versus the business side of it. Okay, well, we talk about comfort levels. We got to stay in this lane. You told me you want a payment of this. Well, this is what this is going to get you, and it's okay. Right. I'm not in the first house that I owned, and let's just be realistic here. And so, setting the right expectations, not having the emotional side of it is we feel like if we have that set in motion, and as the foundation moving forward, it makes it a lot easier for everyone. Expectations are set right, and I think it's important. The strategies. The strategy that we implement is how we're getting people into homes,
right? Based
on all the stuff we've done on the front end. So, but hey, I appreciate you both coming in. This was good. Fun. I know we
thanks
a lot to do.
Thanks for having us and giving us a little plug. And I just I really feel like buying a home or investing in real estate is still one of the best possible things you can do in life for not only for your home and for your safe place, right, to live and enjoy your life, but also as an investment. I've seen, generations of people at this point benefit from being in the real estate market, and so I'm happy to be involved in something that is that big of a deal to all the people that we work with. So that's great. And as far as new brokers and brokers in the business, what a great business to be in as a loan officer and a real estate broker. And the people in our business really work hard. And I don't think enough is shown of that. And so I have a lot of love for people that are willing to, like I said, to put their stake in the ground and be confident enough, or at least fake it until they're confident enough to get going and go off on their own. So I really appreciate our industry, and I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful for our clients and what we can do to help them. And so thanks for letting us toot our own horn for a second, and hopefully also just show some appreciation to all the people that we work with.
Yeah, because a lot of the best people in our industry are not the people that are walking around like a peacock, showing off and saying, look at me, look at me. They don't wear their suit of lights when they come into the office every day. They just do the work. They do the hard work. They focus on their clients, and they're not looking for accolades. I know very successful real estate brokers, their awards that they win are sitting in a box in a closet somewhere, because that's not what they do it for.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so surround yourself with great people, and like every other walk in life, that just makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, and one final thought on that, just you got me thinking, we have about 100-ish brokers. About a third of them are very high producers. Yeah, another third of them do really well, which is different than the national statistics. But what really compels me the most is watching a certain percentage of our brokers who perform at a very high level for a very long time. And it's amazing to watch that year after year after year, top 1% nationally. So if you see those people, you gotta watch them and see what do you do. That's why I was asking you about another broker not in our office, because I want to know, like, how do they keep that level up? Yeah. That's amazing. I mean,
and we know their level of business because we're in the industry, so we're in tune with that. But a lot of the folks that that do a lot of business, the average person would never even know,
right?
Because they're not strutting,
right?
They're just quietly doing the hard work every single day.
Yeah, and those are the folks that are typically the people I'm talking about, the people that do it year after year after year, and it's a lot of hard work. It is not.
That's what it boils down to, is just work. They just work and work and work and work and fall in love with the process and not necessarily the outcome. And, back to the relationships, the transactions, or the money follows the really good relationships. That's what they focus on. That's what we focus on. And so having fun with it and making it, bigger than just ourselves individually and bringing a bunch of people along that are pulling the same direction is where it's at for us. So
Grandpa was right. He used to say, daylight's burning, get to work. Yeah. And so it all comes back to Grandma and Grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not being attached to that outcome.
To the outcome, yeah.
When I first started, I was in my early 20s, and I had this rusted out 74 Toyota Land Cruiser, the FJ. And I was trying to get it going in the parking lot one day because I had an appointment. And this guy came out from my office, and he, suited up, very successful guy. And I'm sitting there trying to get my car going. He asked me what I'm doing. I'm trying to get my car going because I got an appointment. And he starts a conversation with me. He's like, I know this seems hard to think about right now, but just never count up the commission. Never worry about, how much money you're going to make, and you'll be just fine. And I was like, well, it's easy for you to say, as you drive off in your Mercedes, right? And I have to park around the corner so my client doesn't see my car. But he was absolutely right, and that's a hard place to get to, right? Yeah. It takes a lot of work to get there. Yeah. So to everyone that has gotten there and is working on it, I just got to commend them.
Yep.
So
Perfect.
Keep fighting the fight.
keep fighting the fight.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you both.
Thank you.
This was good.
This is great.
All right.
All right. Thank you.